Yeah, we should shift off. So our first news story of the week comes from VentureBeat, which is the resident journalist over at GamesBeat, I guess, is Jeff Grubb, and he sort of dropped a bombshell a couple of days ago. It might have been, it was on, I don't know when it was. Might have been Friday, I think it was. But yeah, Jeff Grubb just basically turned around and said Starfield exclusive to Xbox and PC, period. This is me
Friday.
confirming that.
14th, yeah.
Right. So he just dropped this bombshell at Starfield, which is obviously the Bethesda up and coming space sort of sci-fi RPG. Especially off the back of like what we just talked about with Mass Effect. Huge deal. Bethesda haven't put out a game from their first, like their sort of top division studio, which is Bethesda GameWorks, since
was it Fallout?
Fallout 4 was their last game.
Or was it Skyrim? No, it would have been Fallout.
Fallout 4, yeah. So that would have been 2015, I think it was. Yeah, so it would have been 2015, 2016, around that time. And that was a long time ago.
Yes.
And they haven't put out a game in 7 years almost. And so this is going to be a big one. The fact that it's just been dropped, that it's a Xbox exclusive, or a Microsoft exclusive, I should say.
So it'll be on PC.
It's also on PC. So that's a good thing, I guess. But the fact that PlayStation fans are now sort of cut out of that is sort of a bummer. But at the same time, it's exciting for Xbox because it means that they're sort of bringing up
relevant in the game.
Yeah, they're being a bit more relevant, I guess. Like there was a lot of complaints last generation about how Xbox quote unquote have no games, and now they've got probably one of the biggest games for the first half of this generation.
Mostly anticipated, and with a studio with a reputation like Bethesda, it's well-founded hype.
Yeah,
even though we've not seen a single ounce of gameplay, all we know is that
it's coming. That's all we know.
RPG. That's all we know.
Yeah, but how do you feel about this? Like, do you mind that this is an exclusive? Is it like were you expecting different? You know, like what's the Jarvis take?
I am not surprised in the slightest, and I was. To me, it wasn't news. I thought I'd already in my head it was already like I'm sure I heard that everything was going to be exclusive from Bethesda. Like it feels like it's not news to me, but there are some people that are shocked. It's not surprising at all. So I knew it was coming, but because I don't yet have the next gen console and I'm still in that what am I going to buy first phase, a little apprehensive, and it's because we don't know when it's going to be released. You know. What am I going to buy next is still a big question for me.
But does that tick off like in the pros column for
Xbox? It's a huge tick.
Are you actually interested in this game? Like that's one thing I never actually asked you. Okay.
Yeah, because Mass Effect trilogy is probably like one of my it's my favorite sci-fi game probably period.
Okay.
This is properly 100% up my street. Like tick, yeah. The only thing, might be a bit controversial, that makes me think is that Bethesda can sometimes be janky to the point of, narrative dissonance, where it takes you out of the game and you're just laughing at the glitching people.
Yeah, I saw it.
Clipping through the floor.
That's a fair criticism to be. Yeah.
Whereas Mass Effect, their jankiness didn't really take you out of the feeling like you had that. You have that feeling that you are Shepard and you are making these decisions and your actions have these powerful consequences. So that's what I really loved about it. And Bethesda, if I'm thinking like Mass Effect made by Bethesda, I don't know whether or not the effect is going to be the same. So I'm apprehensive. And we're living in this world now where we know that huge, massive studios with great reputations can make games that I've not even bought yet, just off the back of their release.
Cyberpunk is a massive sort of lesson for everyone to learn. Yeah. I think that actually gives me confidence that Starfield is probably going to be in a better condition than we like initially think. I totally agree with your apprehension as well about how Starfield could be a janky mess, like much of Bethesda's titles. Like even though I absolutely love everything that Bethesda has done. Like Skyrim is in my top 10 games of all time. Like Fallout 4 was like a 10 out of 10 game for me. I absolutely loved it and I bought it at launch. I had no problems with it really. Like obviously you get the Bethesda jank, but it never really pulled me out of the experience. So it was never like too much of a problem. But now that the thing happened with Cyberpunk, I think Xbox are looking at it and saying, okay, we really cannot afford
Hold your horses,
for that to happen.
Make sure it's working, even if you delay it. I would prefer in a couple of years' time, like just make sure it's finished.
I think
for Bethesda, that's most relevant out of probably all the other games companies now. To listen to that advice, it should be Bethesda that listened to it, because they were pushing the boundaries of what you could release, and then Cyberpunk surpassed that.
Bad. Yeah.
And so hopefully Bethesda will take note and go, okay, maybe easy on the jank this time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were nervous about the whole Xbox and Bethesda sort of acquisition and their merger, but with this specifically, in context with this conversation, it brings me a lot more confidence to say that Starfield is probably going to be on a better condition than we think it's going to be. Because when you're
it has to be.
Yeah. Right. For one, it has to be for Xbox because they really, really need a smash hit to sell these. Well, not sell the consoles, but they need to sell Game Pass basically. And this is the thing to drive it, along with Halo Infinite. And on top of that, like the fact that like third parties, when you're like by yourself and you're just trying to survive, like you need to get games out, like even if they're not at complete peak condition or whatever, like they need to get out, because if they don't come out at the right time, then people don't buy them because of the holiday season and things like this, or if it's in a window between other games that are coming out by other companies. All this sort of like stupid like politics scheduling stuff happens and gets in the way all the time.
Yeah.
But now that they're a first party studio and they've sort of been absolved by that, like they don't have to worry about that anymore.
They'll be getting the golden treatment. They'll be getting the first dibs on the holiday slot, and stuff will be moving around for them, I'd imagine.
It wouldn't surprise me if Starfield was originally meant to come out like in this autumn sort of thing, but then it probably got pushed to the first half of next year or something. And they Xbox probably came in and said, yeah, take an extra 6 months. Polish this thing.
Yeah, this needs to be good.
Get it perfect.
This can't flop. They spent too much money for it to flop.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's Bethesda. I don't think it can. Even if it has got some jank, I think it'll still sell.
It just depends on how well it'll be received, and I guess not. People don't care about this.
Doesn't really matter. yeah.
It cares to us. It cares to us, and that's about it. But I'm looking forward to it, and it might make the difference. It might make. I might buy an Xbox because of Starfield. Like when E3 comes out, and hopefully there'll be some information there that might make me go, definitely buying both now. Or off the back of whatever we see at E3, it might go, I'm only going to buy a PlayStation.